Hello and welcome to part 2 of my Fill My Cup series, and in today's video I'm going to be asking the question, why the gap? Why is there a gap between knowing what to do and actually doing it? Knowing what sort of things are going to be helpful in self-care and self-preservation and self-development, but then actually doing them. And with that, there can be all sorts of feelings that arise, all sorts of thoughts and different emotions and different kind of behaviours that come as a result of the gap. Now, I'm not asking or having any particularly high expectations or kind of making any assumptions about what that might mean for you, because for everybody it's different. For me, there is an element of knowing about taking some time and being able to express myself and helping other people to express themselves, but then finding that actually I wasn't necessarily expressing myself truly. I was maybe not doing as much art as I'd like to. So as an art therapist, I would be encouraging people to express themselves and having that acceptance, that self-acceptance as well. Whereas as the human part of me was maybe feeling the inner critic was coming up and arising and unable to express and accept myself, like in the times when I've needed to do that. Now, there's all kinds of things that might be for you. I had a, what's it called, a sign. It was in my kitchen on the worktop, and it said, I understand the concept of cooking and cleaning, but just not how it applies to me. And I just thought it was really funny because it was kind of like, yeah, understand. And actually, because it was funny, it really inspired me to do the washing up, and it gave a new meaning to the washing up, that there was a humour to it and it became fun, it became a game. Whereas actually sometimes the jobs and the chores that are helpful in life, that sometimes the sort of adulting jobs that we need to do for life can feel like it's a chore, and it can feel like there's a need to be really disciplined for it. And I find that as well, that I've got to be really disciplined with that. But hang on a minute, I really value freedom in my life. I don't want to be disciplined. I live by myself. I value my independence. I don't want to be disciplined about when I do that. But when I have prioritised my own needs, and with that, not just doing the easy things that feel good, but doing some of the hard things, because sometimes when we do the hard things, we actually get better results. We have an easier life. Discipline ultimately brings freedom. So some of these gaps still happen, maybe because of different beliefs that we have, different ideas that we have, and different maybe limiting beliefs that we have. And that gets me on to thinking about the different factors that influence the gap, why there's a gap there. And from the point of view of being in a role where you are helping other people, there are loads of different factors. So consider your own personal factors, consider your own personal history, your own personal experiences, things that form a belief and a mindset about yourself, about other people, and about the world. Is it that there's some influences from that? Consider that. Consider the environment that you're in, and consider the clients that you are working with, the patients that you are working with, and any patterns and psychological things that come up from that. So an example of that is feeling the energy of a person that you're working with. If they're feeling maybe like anxious or uncertain, then actually that can cause us to also feel anxious or uncertain. Sometimes in the clinical space, there can be, depending on the space, experiences where you're not feeling certainty of the help, of the outcome for that person and for how you can help them. So actually that can cause us to have a great deal of uncertainty about ourselves. And in effect, that can have an impact on how we show up outside of work, how much energy we have when we get home from work. Sometimes there might be a sense of going into a collapse and a flop. Sometimes it might be that we become sort of quite frozen, or sometimes it might be that we run away from the problems and aren't able to talk about some of those things. So actually, depending on which setting you're in, being able to talk about those kind of things within the work environment and within that, through the different structures that you have, can be helpful. But really at the moment in this video, it's about sort of recognising where the gap is. So just have a little think about that and take some time to reflect on that, and take some time to recognise what is your own stuff and which of those things you can change. So if you're thinking about some of the beliefs that you have and some of your own personal attributes that contribute to that, and maybe why you've maybe not necessarily prioritised self-care, or not necessarily been putting your own needs first, versus whether it's somebody else's stuff, and whether it's like which of those things are. And something that kind of really like strikes me is having that acceptance, and having that acceptance. This is where we're up to right now. I can understand, this makes sense that I've maybe neglected a part of something that's going to be helpful for me, that I've been a bit stuck. I've maybe been poorly, maybe not been able to go out as often as I would like, or that my kind of true self would like, because I felt quite stuck. And actually being able to reflect and have a real acceptance of where you currently are, and why there's a gap between where you are and where you want to be, can allow you to then break through that gap, which is what we're going to be talking about in the next video. So tune in for video 3, and I hope you enjoyed this and that you found some space to reflect, and see you soon. Bye.